You're in the room. You're laughing at the right moments. You're saying the right things. And somehow underneath all of it, you feel completely alone. Like there's a glass wall between you and everyone else that nobody else can see. If that's ever been you, stay with me. By the end of this, you'll understand something about yourself that most people spend their entire lives never finding words for. You're not antisocial, you're not broken, and you're not imagining it. That feeling has a name, and once you understand what's actually driving it, everything starts to make a different kind of sense. Most people assume that not fitting in is a social skills problem. That if you just talked more, opened up more, tried harder, it would go away. But here's what that explanation misses completely. Plenty of people who feel like outsiders are excellent communicators. They read rooms perfectly. They know exactly what to say. The problem was never the social skills. The problem is something deeper, a persistent, quiet sense that the version of yourself you show the world isn't quite the real one. And until you're seen fully, not just socially accepted, but genuinely known, the loneliness doesn't go away. No matter how many people are in the room. Psychologists call this phenomenon identity-based belonging deficit. It's distinct from social anxiety or introversion. It specifically describes people whose core sense of self, their values, their way of seeing the world, their internal depth, doesn't match the social environments they find themselves in. And here's the thing about that mismatch. You can't logic your way out of it. You can perform belonging. You can get very good at it. But performance isn't the same as feeling it. This almost always starts in childhood. The kid who felt older than their age, who connected better with adults than peers, who had rich inner worlds that didn't translate well into playground conversation, who noticed things about people, about situations, about the gap between what people said and what they meant, that other kids just didn't seem to register. You probably learned early that being fully yourself made people uncomfortable, so you learned to edit, to show just enough, to be present without being exposed. And that habit of self-editing became so automatic that eventually even you forgot it was happening. But here's where it gets interesting, because that habit doesn't just protect you, it also locks you out. Research on belonging and identity shows that the feeling of fitting in requires something called perceived authenticity, the sense that the people around you are responding to who you actually are, not a version you've constructed for them. When you self-edit heavily, you can receive all the social acceptance in the world, and it won't register as real belonging, because some part of you knows they don't actually know me. They know the version I let them see, and you're right, they do. And this is the part that explains everything. The loneliness you feel in a crowded room isn't a failure of connection. It's actually evidence of a very high standard for connection. Most people can feel belonging from surface-level acceptance. You can't. You need something more real, and that's not a flaw in you. That's depth. The bar is just higher, because you are more. If you're nodding right now, this next part is for you. That persistent outsider feeling, that glass wall, it doesn't mean you're incapable of belonging. It means you haven't yet found the environments and the people who can hold the full version of you. Not the edited one, the real one. And those people exist. Those environments exist. The feeling of not belonging everywhere isn't permanent. It's directional. It's pointing you somewhere more specific. Here's what nobody tells people who've never felt like they belong. The people who feel most like outsiders in conventional spaces are usually the ones who go on to build the most meaningful connections of their lives, because when they finally find their people, they recognize each other instantly. There's no performance. There's no editing. There's just finally, the relief of being seen. So if you've spent your whole life standing in rooms feeling like a ghost, you're not a ghost. You're someone who refuses to mistake performance for connection, and who won't settle for being known halfway. That's not loneliness. That's loyalty to yourself. And next week, we're going into the psychology of people who feel emotions more intensely than everyone around them, and why that's not a weakness. It's a completely different way of being human. You'll want to be there for that one.